Hi, everyone, and welcome to the End of Life Journey and Beyond, the Sands of Time. My name is Lisa Strauss Lawrence, and I'm a bereavement specialist. Hello, Susan. Good to see you as always.
Good morning, Lisa. Good to see you as well. My name is Susan Caperso. I'm an end-of-life doula and legacy specialist. And today we're talking about a subject that's really important for so many families after we lose a loved one. So your parents, your grandparents, or even another loved one in your life has passed, and you're the responsible one that needs to separate their possessions. You need to determine what's valuable for you, and you need to disperse things that are left. And this can be a really difficult and challenging time. Making a plan can help ease, this overwhelming time and make it a little bit more bearable for you. Today, Lisa and I want to touch on this subject and talk about some of the ways that can help maybe lighten your load so that the experience will be a little bit easier for you. One note that we did want to put out there before we begin is that as an end of life doula, one of the things I do is help a client with that terminal diagnosis to help her or him gift as many of the possessions as they have now before they go.
Mm.
And so actually this process can begin before your loved one passes. Gifting things, no matter how big or small, has so much meaning to the receiver. And it's something that they'll treasure forever and know how much they were loved, even as something as simple as a shirt. My brother just wanted one of my husband's Harley Davidson shirts that he collected from every state where he worked, which ended up being 50 states. But he had many of them, and he just wanted one of Jim's shirts, which I realized the meaning in that. And that's why we want to talk about a few of those things today.
Mm.
So, Lisa, would you like to start us off today?
Sure. I'd like to start off with spouses, and I want to also talk about how important it is that you figure out what's right for you. Everybody has their opinion and everybody decides, okay, well, you should be doing this or you should be doing that, or this is the time frame. Hey, folks, this is not the way it is. And I'm just going to give an example of how differently I handled it versus my new partner. So for me and my children, the best thing for us was to go through all my husband's things pretty quickly. We sorted things out. There's a lot of ways to sort things out, which we can go into later. But we sorted things out and quickly decided what we were going to, donate or save or give, all those things. And this happened fast because for me, I didn't want his things around. That was me, and that's how strongly I felt about it. That was what was right for me. But I have a partner who many years later, and we live together now, and so it was probably, oh gosh, maybe 12 years at least. And when I came to the office that I have now, everything was intact. Everything, there were still labels on some of the clothing she had. There was still things that hadn't been touched at all. And I said to him, if I'm moving in, I really need my space. And what do you want to do with these things? And his answer was that he just hadn't gotten to it. And whether that was an emotional thing or whether it was just he put it aside, couldn't deal with it, didn't want to deal with it. I mean, for whatever reasons. And again, this is very personal, but he had no problem with me, taking out her dresses, her suits, her really beautiful outfits and donating it to Dress for Success. And he had no problem with going and putting it at Savers or any of those other places. There are people who have different time frames, and this is what he was most comfortable with. So whether it was an avoidance, it's not for me to say. Whether this was just comfort to have her things around, it's not for me to say. She did have a collection of hundreds and hundreds of Beanie Babies, and we have been dispersing them slowly through Halloween, and kids get very excited about getting Beanie Babies for Halloween, not just candy, and he feels great about that. She had hundreds of tins because she was a collector of tins, and he went on eBay. They weren't worth anything, and he said, get rid of them. So we donated them. So, again, I don't know whether it was sentimental or whether it was just his need to have things around. There are things that he still doesn't know are around, and I haven't gone through them or touched them yet because it hasn't been necessary. However, when there comes a point we sell the house, then it's a whole nother story. So I want to emphasize that people have to figure out what's right for them, and that other family members may feel differently, whether you're a
Well,
sibling or a spouse or
exactly.
whatever. Yes, exactly. So
Exactly. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, yeah, we want to throw in our story. Mine is a little bit the same. I wanted some things cleaned up and gone within the couple weeks, just out of sight
yep,
to make it a little easier on me. So I did that. But then there's this one box of the Harley Davidson shirts that meant so much to him that honestly, it's years later and I still can't go through the box. So to each his own,
yep,
and I do what I do, and still I can't disconnect from that box, right?
yeah.
So everybody's different. But, I think today we're touching a little bit more on too, parents and grandparents. When you're designated to go through their home and empty their possessions, I think that's what we're focusing on a little bit more of today versus your spouse, because that's a whole different entity, right? That's really hard on how you choose to downsize and get rid of some of the things when you continue to stay in the home,
I believe
right?
it's all the same conversation. I think it's trying to deal with, now that that person is gone, what happens to the things that represented them. So whether it's a spouse or a parent, or you have to, sell the house or whatever, I think it's all about how you deal and how you grieve, and what's right for you, and what's comfortable, for you. And some, it's a therapeutic thing to even do that. I talk about going down memory lane. I mean, there's so
It
many
is, but
memories
it's
that
a
you
little bit
have.
different. It's a little different. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Um, um, and I don't know if I'm freezing here, Lisa, or you.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
having a little bit of an internet connection today,
yes,
so
yes,
bear with the video that we're doing
sure,
today.
sure,
But I think that when it comes to other family and having to go there and do something with now the house that's left, that's really, it's a different kind of overwhelm, I think, because you can't sit on it and wait until your timing is good. Sometimes if it's somebody else's home, like a parent or grandparent, you have to get on the ball and you have to get things moving, right?
sure, sure. And there may
So,
be other relatives that help out with this as well, by the way. It might just not fall
right, of
on you,
course.
depending upon, what the legal situation is and things like that.
Of course, of course. So just starting to think of the project can be overwhelming for you, I know. But first things first, and I really think that you need to think of some of maybe the services that these people, I want to say parents or grandparents were focusing on because it's immediate family. But what about services that you could stop, whether it be the newspaper, the lawn service that comes during the week, different therapy appointments that they have, different deliveries that they get all the time, things like that. And you might not even be aware of all of them, but as they happen, you'll know to cancel some of these things out.
Sure.
We were talking about earlier, Lisa, paperwork, right? And how important paperwork is. Don't just disregard boxes. You may find policies in there,
Yes.
important information that could be crucial when it comes to somebody's estate, right?
Yes. Yes. And by
And
the
you
way,
could
don't forget,
shred the rest.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. We got caught in our technology guru here. What happened? Hello? Okay. She's on hold. So in the meantime, there you are. You back? Okay. We have lost connection here. There
Yeah,
you
I
are.
know, I
Okay.
know. And then
Okay. That's all right. We talked over each other. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
just about the paperwork and how important it is not to go through everything, right?
Yes. I want to mention pets, by the way, because I was involved with the whole pet thing.
Okay.
Um, don't forget about the pets that, family members have had. I was involved because they were trying to find adoption places for all these pets that this woman had. And I was approached by my vet because he knew the family. This was the woman's sister and the woman's niece, and they were looking for a place for three cats. And people would take one cat but not all three, but they grew up together, so they needed a place for three cats, and guess who took the three cats? So don't forget the pets are really important family members of the people who were there, so don't forget
Of
those.
course.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
Okay.
One of the other big things in a loved one's home is history. Okay, family history. But this isn't something that you really have to deal with on the onset. I would suggest getting some bins from Home Depot or wherever you get your bins and taking some of that historic, whether it be photos, if there's slideshows, if there's different really historic, sentimental value, and putting it all together. Putting it all together. There's no need to sit and sift through it right now because that's only making an overwhelming job even more overwhelming. So
Absolutely.
that piece of it can be taken and you can do in your own time,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Come back
absolutely.
to it at a date.
Yes. Some interesting categories to put things into. Items that you want to personally keep, obviously. Items that you plan on donating. Items that should be disposed of or even recycled. Items that you plan on selling, maybe in an estate sale, or items that other family members might want. So those
Right, right.
categories are sort of good universal categories to put things into.
Absolutely. And something you can do with siblings also is to contact everybody and have them not give you an answer over the phone, but think about two or three things that you know that maybe mom or dad had in their house that you would like to pass on to your family. And maybe giving them time to sit on that information will help everything flow easier too, because I got to tell you, a lot of arguments can happen during this time. We had a show about siblings,
You did.
and that might be a good one to watch, but you have to be gentle, in your conversations when it comes to this. Have an
Yes,
open heart and an open mind, and you'll
yes.
get through this a little bit easier.
Yeah. Some interesting concrete things that I never even thought of until I did a lot of reading. You're supposed to make sure that the locks on the home are changed. That's really important. You forward the mail to, I guess to your address. You need, as you said
Hmm.
about the paperwork, really important. You have to keep up whatever paying on certain services that were already started, and you have to go over all the things that are outstanding. I mean, there's bills, there's, all kinds of paperwork that you really need to figure out about. Hopefully, some people, if it's not sudden, some people have gone over things with you. You know where things are. It's horrible when you don't
Right.
know where anything is.
Exactly, exactly. And this is a really emotional time. So another thing to think about is not just to throw everything away. Or you may say, "Oh, I'll never use this again, so I'll just donate it or get rid of it," right?
Yes,
Because there are certain historic things that aren't really historic, but have more sentimental value that you may want later down the road. Like your dad's favorite shirt that you remember seeing him in all the time. Make sure that goes into your save box because maybe you can repurpose it.
yes,
Make a small pillow for the house. The same thing with, mom's pillowcases or something that she really loved. So don't be hasty just to get rid of all these things because repurposing is really big. And maybe it won't be for you, but maybe it would be for a grandchild or a
yes.
great grandchild, who
That's a
won't get
great
a
idea.
chance to know them.
And then there's also,
So,
of course, all the
create
media.
these different piles.
Yes. There's a lot of media,
The what?
remember. A lot of media. Remember, there's pictures, there's albums, there's tapes, there's movies, there's a lot of things to
That's what I
really
mean.
consider. Yep.
That's what I said earlier, that you don't need to do it now. That's a project in itself. So get those bins and just label them well and keep that as a project for later on down the road.
Yeah.
But when you're emptying the house, don't feel obligated to sit and go through every photo and all of these sentimental things.
Right.
Um, Also, when you're taking clothes out of the house, check all the pockets.
Oh, yeah,
Check
good
the
idea.
pockets because often people leave things in the pockets, and also pins and brooches and different jewelry. Sometimes cufflinks are left on the clothes, so
Right,
you may
that's
want to
right.
be weary about that.
That's a really good
And
idea.
when it comes to clothes, there's many places you can drop off. All right. They have the bins. You know that you can go to Goodwill and Savers, like you said earlier, but they also have many organizations. I just got a postcard in the mail about from Lupus. The
Mm,
Lupus Foundation is going to be in your area and looking to pick up clothes. And that makes things a whole much more easier when you can put a dozen bags out to the curb and then they'll pick it up.
yeah, there used to be St.
So
Vincent
that's important.
Society. Used to be St. Vincent Society that I used to remember about that too. They used to have that.
Okay.
Um, there are actually bereavement cleaning, what they call clean out services. Now, I don't know about them, but I read that they actually assist family members in sorting out. I don't know how much they charge for that kind of, service, but
Yeah.
especially if some people are overwhelmed. They really just can't handle all this
Yeah.
stuff on their own.
I think that's a niche way to service to market their business because it does tell you that they may be a little bit more gentle and caring, but they really are organizers. They're organizers that can help you come and do all this, and remove. And even as far as 1-800 got junk. Okay, or one of these services. No, they have many. They
I'll
have many. I have a friend who had a yard sale this weekend and she picked up the phone and called one of these to come on Monday and just take everything away. So you're paying a few dollars for those services. If you have family members, that would be a little bit better, but they can always help you. But one more thing about the clothes that I want to mention. Especially, if it's a woman and she has a good girlfriend or a few girlfriends, to take a nice special piece of clothing, whatever it may be. I mean, not her junky t-shirt that she used to sleep in, but something nice. And if you can gift it to her girlfriends and say, hey, this was my mom's, and I know she would love if you had it because it evokes such great memories and this and that. And how touching is that? That's like a treasure,
treasure.
right?
Is a treasure. And I do want to follow up because there are people who put money in all kinds of places. So, from what I understand from my grandmother's house, there was money under the mattress, and there was money under. I mean, you hear these stories and think, really, but it was true. My grandmother did that, and there was some money in bricks and under things. I mean, you never know where things are going to be at. In the and like pocketbooks. There's a lot of things stuffed in pocketbooks. So you need to really look through everything, like you were saying. Very important.
Oh yeah. When I go to the next pocketbook, I often don't clean out
Me too.
the book
Me
all
too.
the way. I
Too.
found a $50 bill the other day and I was over the moon about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
To
Yeah. So
organize this.
there are people that will help. There are special estate liquidators. If you know that there's things of
Yes.
value, whether it's paintings or antiques, or
Yes.
they are available to you. You just need to research online in your area, give them a call, and usually if it's not something that they cover or you're not in the area with to you.
Yes. Yes. I this is a really good suggestion for people who are a little overwhelmed about everything. Create a schedule for yourself. So, today I'm
Yeah.
going to just do this drawer or this cabinet, or because it is overwhelming. And so a schedule of what you want to do each day or week or whatever, it could be helpful to some people as well. And then putting labels on things. So you do have some kind of way of sorting things out. Stick them on like a
Right.
post-it note or something, so that you have that. That it keeps you
Yeah,
organized,
that's a great idea.
organized.
Yeah. And I also thought about the thing with siblings or people that want to help. Even with siblings, it might be easier if you could say to them each, well, do you think you can come by Monday? Or do you think you can come by Friday? Versus having 5 or 10 people in the house that are going a little crazy because they want to help you get it done, but sometimes that makes for more chaos, I think.
Yes,
I think. So if you could ask just one at a time and, kind of go through the flow that way.
it's a great.
And, I know you don't like to ask for help. I'm one that never likes to ask for help with anything in life because I feel like I'll get it done. I'll manage. But, in an overwhelming, challenging time like this, ask for help. Ask one of your friends even.
Yes,
If they can just come and support you while you're cleaning out the kitchen drawers.
it's a
They could
great
just
idea.
sit there and chat with you. And of course, they'll come and want to help,
Yes,
you know,
that's so
right?
important. Yes, yes. And it is a very stressful time. And it's going to evoke all kinds of memories. Um, it's so final. So people shouldn't be surprised about what kind of emotions it really, brings to somebody. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard.
And remember that some of us will be blessed with a wonderful, clean, pretty, not much to do home, while others will be entrusted in a hoarder's home or, something that'll take a lot more time, years and years. You could be talking they lived in their house for 40 or 50 years and never threw anything out.
Right.
Then you really need to enlist in a little help.
Yes. I've downsized twice already. First for my home, then for my apartment. And now I sit here with, I guess, about 151 albums, which I'm told from my kids they're throwing out anyway. So I love my albums. I look through them once in a while. And you know what? If that's what they want to do, that's fine. They bring wonderful to me. I'm not ready to give them to anybody because they mean something to me. But uh, you know, I'm a picture person. I have 8,000 pictures that were scanned in by my partner. And then I have all these other pictures that are on all my walls and everything else. It
You
doesn't
do
really,
have a lot,
I
Lisa.
do have a lot.
You
Yeah.
you have a lot, and I've seen it. And the way in a situation like this, though, especially when your children tell you that they don't want all 500 albums, you said you had a lot of them on digital.
I
You
do.
said you
I do.
had a lot
Yes.
of them on digital.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the way to go might be in this futuristic world that we live in would be to form an account. You have Shutterstock or no, Shutterfly or CVS does it. And you can put 500 photos in one book because the pictures are so thin, the pages are so thin, and you can make these thin books. And I bet you if you decided to do a project like that, you would have a small box of albums versus your big giant albums filled with pages. It would downsize it. And you know something? If you had a small box like that, your children are going to want to take it and have it and look through it. They say that to you because they're looking at 500 photo albums and it's very overwhelming.
It's only
But if they
151.
had it in a small
It's only 151
151,
albums.
I say 500. But Lisa,
151.
that's still a lot. That's still a lot. Maybe they don't want 151
And they don't have to.
photo
You know
albums,
what?
even if it's sitting
To
in
be
the corner
honest
of
with
their
you,
basement.
I don't really care what they do with them. They're mine. They're for me. And my
Yeah.
dog collection. At some point, maybe I'll give them to my grandchildren. Um, right now I enjoy them. I enjoy having them in my room with me. They're important to me. Um,
You
whether
know,
they're
I'm a
before
big believer though. I'm a big believer in gifting and
me too,
gifting,
me too.
so gifting before,
Mhm,
and make a big deal out of it. We even did a video on this and wrap it and invite them over and say, I really want you to have this piece of jewelry. This was my favorite. And I want you to have it and love it and wear it, whether it's a bracelet, a necklace, whatever it may be, and that's something that they'll save, forever and ever. Who cares about the junk jewelry we have in our box? Throw that out. I don't care.
mhm,
But there's a few important pieces, and that should be gifted.
mhm.
So I think we covered a lot today, Lisa, and I do apologize if the internet
Yeah,
connection hurt
yeah.
us today. But I think we got the gist of almost everything, right? Was there
I just
anything else that you
I
thought of
I
that?
just want people to make sure they understand that whatever anybody else tells them to do, not to do, everybody's got advice and all. They have to follow their heart and figure out what's right for them. And that's really so important. And in all of our videos, we really talk about the personal aspect. We can give advice and we can tell things, but I just don't want anybody to feel these are obviously helpful hints and helpful ideas and all, but you have to come to what's right for you and what you're comfortable with. So,
That's right.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Okay.
right. And that's the bottom line.
It is.
Sometimes that's not always possible. You may need for whatever reasons, and there are many of them, you may need to get that house off your hands
Yes,
quickly.
yes, yes, yes,
So if that's the case, then hopefully some of these tips have helped. Otherwise, move slowly. If you can move slowly and do a little bit at a time, don't stress, don't overwhelm yourself. Be kind and gentle to yourself and nurture yourself during this time. That's
yes,
for sure.
yes. Good advice. So, in our spare time, we're busy doing other things, you and I. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so we're
Yeah, so I work on the book project, which is one of my favorite things to do. It's called The Story of Me. And you can find that there at eastendulacare.com or even susancaperso.com. And it's a 4-week project where we get together in person or via Zoom. And we have 10 to 12 hours worth of audio that I create into a 12 by 12 hardcover book with pages that can't tear. And we add photos along the way, and it becomes an invaluable treasure for your family and for the generations to come. So take
nice.
a look on my
Awesome.
website and you'll find some of the other services I offer. And Lisa,
Yeah, so I love talking to groups, widowers groups or other groups, especially about celebrating the life of the people who've lost. I'm a big believer in keeping that person with us, even though they're not physically with us. And I'll give you an example. Yesterday for Rosh Hashanah, my mom's tablecloth was there, and my biological mom's beautiful, beautiful knives were on the table. So again, not the same, obviously not having them around, but enjoying them and thinking of them. So important. So that's what I really believe in. And that's what I stress whenever I work with anybody or do any kind of workshop. So, and I do have 2 books, and I do want to mention that Lustgarten Foundation is having their walk on Sunday, and the books will be on sale, and 100% of the monies go to the Lustgarten Foundation for early detection and hopefully an eventual cure of pancreatic cancer. So, and there you
very
have it.
nice.
And
Well,
there you
good.
have
I
it.
hope this video was was useful, right? With some of our tips and
Yes.
little gold nuggets of how to put things in place so
Uh,
that this experience can be the easiest it can be for you
Possible. Yes.
during this time, right?
And obviously, we
Very
also
good.
always welcome suggestions on topics that you feel are really important to you, things that have happened
Sure.
to you during this whole process. We're always open to that. So thank you for watching. Share our
Yeah,
link.
contact us anytime.
Absolutely. Take care.
Excellent.
Okay.
And Lisa, I'll talk to you next week. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll be back with another wonderful topic for you.
Good. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.